And we are live. Good to see you today. Pastor Bob here. Thank you for joining me today on Sanctuary Live. Great show today. CG Ryche is here with us, and you won't believe what IRONWRATH is doing. And just when you thought you heard it all, just when you thought music couldn't get any better, along comes IRONWRATH with some incredible things that are going to blow your mind. And we want to talk about that today, but we want to talk with you. If you're just joining us, would you sign in? Let us know where you're watching from. It's always good to see where people are from. Sean Silas is here, my old friend, also from IRONWRATH, guitar player. Good morning to you, Sean. Good to see you. And Sean and I have been friends for a long time. Emma Montana is here, the mom of Mangled Carpenter Guys. And good morning from Montana. Blessings to you too, Emma. Good to see you today. Folks, again, let me know where you're watching from all over the world. Jamie is here. Good morning to you. Good morning, folks. Good morning, good evening, whatever it might be. AV, our good friend, good morning. He says, how are you? I'm doing great. It's a great day. A little bit of sniffles with allergies today, but other than that, awesome. It's a good day. Hope you're having a good day too. Jonas is here from Sanctuary, Kenya, Africa. Good morning from Kenya. Hope you all have a good week so far. Thank you, Jonas. And as you know, they're working on the new Sanctuary Praise album from Kenya. And that'll be an amazing thing. Mylan is here from Akron, Ohio. Saw Mylan just a couple of weeks ago at Immortal Fest. Good to see you. I'm walking on sunshine. I love that. Our friend from Alabama. And thank you, folks. A lot of people from the United States watching today. That's cool. Stephen Cole is here from Southern Oklahoma. Folks, once again, if you're just tuning in, let us know where you're watching from. And yes, Sean, I am so excited to see you too. The next Immortal Fest, IRONWRATH will be playing, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Incredible stuff coming up. And of course, the second Immortal Fest of the season, and we'll talk about that in just a minute too. Look at all these bands: Sacred Warrior, Worldview, Bride, Fear Not, Daniel Band, Saint, Ken Tamplin, Neon Cross, White Cross, Triton, Les Carlson. Look at all the bands, and of course IRONWRATH. And we're excited. It's just a few days away, yes, and gosh, 9 days from now. So it's coming up fast. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, do that and be sure and be there. I'd love to see you in person. I'll be introducing all of the bands again. David Kelly White is with us from Littleton, Colorado. 69 degrees, he says. It's about the same here. It feels good so far. It's about to get hot, but the mornings are always nice. Troy is here from Las Vegas. Good to see you, Troy. Good to have you joining us. A lot of United States folks. And Jamie says Washington State is where he's from. Yes. Great. Folks, again, sign in. Troy says, wow, Sean, also good day. And he's saying, wow, he's good. He's glad to see Sean. We're all glad to see Sean. Sean Silas is here. And again, a good friend for so many years. And I haven't seen him for a while. So it'll be good to see him in a couple of weeks. Less than a couple of weeks now. So, folks, again, if you're just joining us, sign in. Matt is here. He says, watching on Facebook in Brentwood, Tennessee. Matt's a good friend of this ministry. And always good to see you. Philip, good to see you. Sanctuary, Northern Ireland. And man, I miss you guys. I would love to get back there again soon. But Philip is here. Joel is here. Hi, Pastor Bob from Melbourne, Australia. How are you today? It's after midnight here in Oz. Yeah, it is. And I whenever I talk to our folks in Australia, I have to remember what time it is there because we're really a different time schedule. Yes, so good to see you. Alex is here from Edenton, North Carolina. and folks joining us from all over the place. Folks, continue to let us know where you're from. We appreciate that. I've got Jim Laverde with me in just a minute. Jim's going to come on and just ramble with me for a little while. And after that, we've got CG Ryche is here talking about IRONWRATH and some amazing things coming up. Hold on, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you every time you bleed for reaching greatness. Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you every time you bleed for reaching greatness. Legends never die. Legends never die.
Welcome back to the show. Good to have you here with us today. Joining me today is Jim Laverde. And Jim, it just said legends never die. You're still alive?
Yep, I'm still alive, and it's man, it's hard to believe. It's been a long time. But let me tell you, man, hand clap for that commercial for the BMI Event Center. That was really, really well made.
Yeah,
And,
John's really good at this. John is our
Oh.
illustrious, industrious producer, and he's so good at this stuff.
yeah, man, it's just like, you know, I saw the commercial and it just made me want to go.
Yeah,
Although I'll be there.
you're not always going, but I saw you in that clip.
Yeah. So I'm playing bass with the group Triton, and I am currently still practicing and rehearsing their songs, and then next Sunday evening I'm flying up to Chicago to have rehearsal with them, and then we're going to be playing at Bob Point 2.0's church. I think on either Friday or Saturday, and then we play on Sunday, and then I come back. So it's going to be
concert at Sanctuary, Wisconsin.
Yes.
And our concert night, and I'll be introducing the band, by the way, through video. But
Okay.
I'm excited that you're going to be playing there. And Jim, this doesn't mean, you know, one of the things that they printed on the program is that it says on Triton, it says Jim Laverde, ex Barren Cross. It isn't ex Barren Cross.
No. I still play with Barron Cross, and we're actually doing a concert at the BMI Center next April, and hopefully we'll be able to see everybody there. And but I still play with Barron Cross, and we've I've got a song that's been written for actually some new material, and so we're going to be working on new material, and we're going to start playing concerts. So if you're interested in having Barron Cross come out to play, we'd love to serve you guys by playing our music and ministering to your folks there at your festival. So, but
That's awesome.
yeah, it's not X, still in.
So, Jim, you and Mike have both kind of branched out a little bit. Of course, you've always been doing sanctuary worship. You still do,
Mm-hmm.
but now you're going to be playing a little bit with Triton, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How does it feel to play with another band that isn't Barron Cross?
It's a little different because I'm playing music that I didn't write, or Ray or Mike or Steve didn't write, and so it's a different feel altogether. They're more on the line along the lines of Rush and Triumph, and of course I'm a huge Rush fan. Always love Geddy Lee's playing, and so their music is a little on the challenging side, but it feels really good. And Larry's such a great guy, and Paul is an excellent drummer, and it's just a three-piece, and so there's going to be a lot of stage room to take up.
Yes.
So
Well, and you don't ever stand in one place, so I'm
mm,
sure it's going to be a good show.
yeah, you might see me flying off the stage and gathering a group of people around where they'll be
Yes.
standing and playing. So, but yeah, so
So
I'm looking
Sean
forward to it. What's that?
Silas from IRONWRATH, they'll be playing this year too. We have CG, the drummer for the band, that'll be with us in a few minutes. But
Mhm.
Sean is the guitar player. Used to be the guitar player for Holy Right, if you remember.
Oh yeah,
And he says, "Hi Jim, it's been forever. Looking forward to seeing you soon." So
yeah. It's really hard to believe that that we've been doing this for almost 40 years, and it's so great to get to the Immortal Fest to see everybody. It's like a family reunion every single time, and I'm glad I get to go twice. So
yeah. And that is exactly it. It's a family reunion. Family, they're a metal family. We're metal,
mm,
we're family. But it really has become that. It's great to see people there, and the music is just a small part of it. The family part is the most important and the coolest part of it, don't you think?
yes, I absolutely think so, and I think that that being able to see one another, meet new people. Matter of fact, just really quick, when Sanctuary Worship team played at the last Immortal Fest, after we got done praying, I had our team. I said, let's just go down into the audience before we start, and let's just meet people, pray with them, and the worship was so good and so anointed, so kissed by the Lord. But really, to me, the neatest part was just being able to shake hands and pray with people and get to know new folks that were there. And yeah, so it is about family. So
It is about family. And Jim,
yeah.
you'll be hanging out at the Sanctuary booth as well a little bit,
Oh yeah.
and you'll be able to get to know people there and shake hands with folks when they come in, and
Yep.
looking forward to spending time with people, aren't we?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And please come up and say hello.
Yes.
That's really my favorite part, is listening to your story, listening to who you are, and to be able to encourage you in the Lord. And so, just it was so incredible just getting to know so many people and hear their stories. See, a lot of times for me, a lot of people come up and want to know about the band, want to know about my life, and want to know about what's going on and stuff. But really, it's about the other person and getting to know that person. And so I usually let people ask a couple questions, but I want to know about you. I want to know about what makes you tick, your story. So that
Yeah.
creates family
That's
environment. Yeah. So.
the best thing. So, yeah. So, folks, if you're able to make it, please do. That would be awesome. I misspoke. Actually, CG Ryche did that commercial that we just saw for
Oh,
Immortal.
he did
Yeah.
fantastic, CG. You should go into making commercials, fella.
Wait till you see the movie. Wait till you see the movie.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about it in a little bit with CG, but he's got some some amazing, amazing things. So, so Jimbo, we're coming up on 2 weeks away, about 2.5 weeks away from our next gathering
Yep.
here,
Uh,
and let's talk about that for a minute.
yeah. Yeah. So our next gathering is coming up, and every one of these things is so different from the other. And so this time around, we're going to have some of our older players that are going to be playing on Saturday and on Sunday, and I'm just I'm just looking forward to that, and just again, just the family mentality that we have with one another. We have a meal together, we sit down across the table, and I believe that, and I firmly believe that 242, where they met together, they had a meal together. There's so many supernatural things that happen when
Yes,
you're sitting across, from a person and you're having a meal together.
yes,
And I never want to stop doing that. So,
yeah,
but
that's the coolest thing. And we do this once a month, the first Saturday of every month,
mhm.
um, at the storehouse, and it's always a good time, Jim. Always a
Yep.
good time, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know I'm talking a lot, but I just
Oh,
really want to
go
brag
for
on
it.
our young worship. We call it the A worship team, but I'm just so proud of them. They came in here with such servant hearts and are so willing to do whatever it takes, and they're so committed.
Yes,
And for all those people out there that are putting on festivals, the Sanctuary Worship Band would be a great band to have in your lineup, because it brings the element of praise and worship into the rock and roll arena.
yes,
If you, I was so proud of the way they displayed their humility, but also their musicianship. Um, you know, that'd be a great addition to your festival. So think about that for a minute, will you? So
yes. No, and absolutely. And Jim, we have two worship teams. The one that you're talking about, the worship band, is very much on the edge, very much
mm,
heavy metal worship.
right,
Uh, they could be a standalone band. They're really good.
absolutely the best. And I can't tell you, God put this together. He brought us Jen and Crystal, those two singers that are incredible. And I've never seen vocalists that defer to one another. No, you take the part. No, you take the part. And just Joey and Westwater and uh, Jamie McCavanagh. I've just had such joy working with them. And my job for them is to mentor, to play with them as much as I can, but to teach them, okay, so what is it to be a worship leader, a lead worshiper, and what goes on, on in the inner workings of all of that. And it's been a thrill, Bob. It really has.
Oh
Boy,
yeah,
I tell you what, I enjoyed playing with them so much on that Sunday. It was just so natural. It was good.
yes,
So.
absolutely. And they did the last Immortal Fest, which was just incredible. You talked about God bringing us the people, and He definitely
Mhm.
did. But Jim, it's even more unusual to find two women who are heavy metal vocalists
Mhm.
together. I mean, how hard is it to find a woman that sings heavy metal? And yet God brought us two of them that are both absolutely standalone incredible.
Yes, and absolutely talented.
Mm,
And they've got good hearts, which to me, when I think of a musician, I look at their heart, and I look
yes,
at what are you willing to do? And there's just tenderness towards the Lord, and deference to each other, and there's something special that happens. We've had many days where we've just all come together and we've sat around the piano and began working out parts. And there is something. These songs just keep flowing out, and I think it's
yeah,
really really something of the Lord. So, but
absolutely. And so that's been cool. But we have our first generation worship team, and by the way, we're getting ready to re-release our two worship albums that we did a few decades ago.
yeah,
And those will be available again. And we've still got some of the original people in that. So
Hmm.
the new one, we call them the kids, the heavy metal worship band. The drummer is Joey Mancaruso. His father is in the other one. His father was in Vengeance Rising. He was the
Hmm.
drummer for that, for Die Happy. And Glenn Mancaruso is the drummer for the older worship team. His wife Sherry was on the original albums and has been
Hmm.
on the worship team, for 38 years.
Decades,
Yes,
decades, Bob, many decades.
yeah. So
Yeah, and it's been,
it's kind of fun to have both spectrums, both sides of Sanctuary family. Yes.
yeah, it is. And music changes about every 7 years, and you can see that down through the decades that the Beatles came along, and then it morphed into something like the Doors, and then early '80s rock, and so I think it's just important to kind of get a feel for what's happening now.
Yes.
And
You
and
too.
so and that's kind of what it is. But that's not to say that what we did back in the day wasn't good, because it was.
It was
And
excellent. Excellent.
yeah, yeah,
And
so we want to.
people can still hear our older worship team every
Yeah,
Sunday morning. Every Sunday morning, they
yeah,
play for a sanctuary. We call it Sanctuary 242 at the storehouse,
yep.
but it's
And
Sunday morning church.
yep, and we are gonna, I was just thinking, just to for Sundays to be an eclectic time of worship. I think sometimes we're going to just have a couple acoustic guitars and a djembe. Other times we'll have a full band. Other times we'll have different worship leaders doing things,
Alexa,
which really brings about again a feeling of family, that everybody's involved, everybody gets to pitch in. But it's been fun working with Glenn. So Glenn Mancaruso is one of my best friends in the whole world, and it's such an honor having him here and moving here with his wife Sherry and
yes,
their kids and Crystal. And so, yeah,
yes, absolutely. Well, folks, it's Jim. Sometimes I feel like after all these years, and we will be celebrating our 40th anniversary next year. I feel
wow,
like after all of these years, in so many ways, we're just getting started.
yeah. I mean, it really just feels like a minute ago
Yeah, it
that
does.
that I met you and I got involved with Sanctuary, and we saw the church take off, and church plants happening, and then traveling to all the festivals and bringing worship teams. When you really look back at the history, that it's been an eventful calendar of things that have happened back through the years. And so I'm looking forward to what the Lord has in store for the next 10 years, or the next 7 years, or the next 5 years, or whatever. And
Yes,
all you have
that's
to say is, Lord, I'm available. Use me. Send us, Lord.
yes,
So.
yes, yes, absolutely. Well, good times ahead. And
Mm.
speaking of good times ahead, folks, don't forget Immortal Fest, 9 days away. So if you are able to come, please do. We'd like to greet you in person. I'd like to say hello to you. Some great bands are playing. Lots of surprises, by the
Mhm.
way, too. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in person, as is Jim. And folks, don't forget that your family is there. We are metal. We are
Our
family, and this
family.
is a great family, Jim, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And, you
Yeah.
know, it's one thing that's really good about that too, is a lot of the older folks bring their kids,
Yes.
and their kids, they're not little.
Yeah.
Some of these folks are bringing 20, 25-year olds and
Yeah.
introducing them. I get to meet them and find out about their lives, and
Yes.
so it's a multi-generational thing down through the ages.
That's the
So
best. It's the
yep,
best.
yeah.
Well, folks, don't forget Immortal Fest coming up. And speaking of coming up, CG Ryche is here with us. I'm excited to interview him, excited to have him on. And we've got some amazing things to talk about with him. And Jim, I hope people will join us. Jim's going to
Mhm.
be playing with Triton, and that'll be a cool concert.
Yep.
And we'll see if Jim has learned all of his guitar parts by then. We'll
Oh
see.
boy.
We'll
Oh,
We'll be
don't.
sitting there judging you. Don't
Uh,
worry. I mean, no
oh,
pressure
this,
or anything, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no pressure, Bob. Thanks. My hands are shaking. So.
Folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Ken Tamplin here. On behalf of myself, Chuck King, the band Shout, and my group Tamplin, we are looking extremely forward to coming out to the Immortal Festival this year in August. It's been about 15 years since we've played together, so we're going to do some rehearsals the week before. We have a special guest guitar player coming out. It's going to be Scott Van Zen. It's going to be joining us on guitar. And again, we're just looking forward to it. We've had a lot of requests over the years of people that have said, hey, I would have loved to have seen the band. Never got a chance to see the band Shout. Never got a chance to see the band Tamplin. But we are actually going to do our best to put on the best show we can to honor the Lord with what He's given us, and hopefully to get you guys that haven't seen the group to come on down and check it out. So again, August 31st, we're looking really forward to it. We've got a couple extra musical pieces that I think you're going to really like. And God bless you, and we'll see you guys in August.
As it seems, too many picture perfect dreams. Just when you thought it's said and done, you realize it's just begun.
And we are back. Folks, thank you again for joining us. If you're just joining us, would you let us know where you're watching from? It's always fun to read those as we're moving through our interviews and chatting. Folks, I have a great guest joining me now. CG Ryche is here with us. We're going to talk about Immortal Fest, talk about IRONWRATH. Welcome to the show, CG Ryche. Good to have you here, my old friend.
Pastor Bob, thank you for having me.
So,
Hello, everybody.
yeah, there you go. So, dude, such great memories of the past, but very exciting for the future. And you and I just talked a few minutes ago and decided that the both of us still look like we're 21, which is good.
It's in the water, man.
It is.
It's
It
in
is.
the water.
Now, I think I've known.
The coffee, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. I think I've known you. I think I knew you before you were 21.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I was just a little CG.
Yeah. I remember. And great memories from those days. Well, I can't wait to get into this. And we have a lot of catching up to do. CG, I'd like to talk about some history, because there's great history that people will remember and fondly remember. And then I want to talk about the future, because it's never looked brighter. And we have a lot of work to do these days. But, the first thing that the first recollection that I have of you is playing drums with Holy Right.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if that was your first band.
No. As far as ministry goes, yeah, it was the first ministry band. God pulled me out of a secular drug, doing a lot of drugs and all the above, band, and I became a Christian on drugs when it happened at a Ronnie James Dio concert. And yeah, man, God pulled me out. Nobody ever told me about Jesus. Nobody ever told me who he was and what he did for me. So when I found that out, it changed my life. Became a Christian, and a guy at church, a Calvary Chapel, said, "Dude, why aren't you doing what you're doing for God?" I said, "That sounds like a plan." So that's what I did. So I do it, and yeah, so Holy Right was that band. I saw Sean play, and I was blown away. Some buddies. I was a wild man back then, man. But they say, "Hey, come with us. We're going to take you to a show," and like Encino Man or something, And they took me there, and I saw Sean play. I thought, Lord, you put me in a band like that, we can do something. And 2 months later, I was in that band. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
Great memories, and not just Holy Right, but the scene in those days. All the bands played together. There were many opportunities for the bands to play at not only festivals but at the clubs and all the things that were happening. Those were really cool days, just to get the word out about Jesus Christ and the beginnings of our Christian metal family.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that golden age of metal, one, was very controversial in the church.
Oh, yeah.
Which is where you came in. But also, a lot of those bands were here from Southern California. And, yeah, we were playing the Sunset Strip with, the Motley Crues and all the other bands that came out of the Van Halen that made it, a couple of years earlier. And, yeah, we were down there at Gazzari's and Roxy,
Skid Row,
Whiskey Go-Go, all that.
Starting. Yeah. Those were great days. And walking the streets on the weekend nights, up and down from Gazzari's to the Whiskey to, all the way up and down with people handing out flyers for their bands, and just the camaraderie with the whole metal scene in those days was amazing, wasn't it?
Dude, it was insane, man. It was crazy. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Time to change, but so be it. But that moment in time, I mean, you look back, I wish I knew what I know now back then. But sometimes God's got to kick you in the wilderness for a little while.
Yes.
Before he brings you back for the big exodus.
Yes. Well, you've always been a great drummer, dude, and I've always appreciated your expertise on the drums. And I think people that are going to Mortal Fast are about to find that out. But you also got involved with media. And I really want to hear that story because, CG, I've seen the background movie, I guess we'd call it, that you're going to be using during the concert. It's absolutely mind blowing. You are a phenomenal artist with graphics and movie and all the stuff that you've done. It's incredible to watch, and you're not just good at it; you're great at it. How in the world did that happen? Because when I knew you way back when, you hadn't started yet, I don't think.
Jim, make sure you send Bob a check for PR. Yeah, put a couple zeros on there. God has his own way. If we seek the Lord and we follow him, but he directs our path, right? Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, and paraphrased. But yeah, I end up doing a lot in the secular world. I played bands like Ambrosia, and I played Wayne Newton. I did a lot of heavy hitting percussion. I'm actually more known as a percussionist, though there's my roots. But I did a lot of DVD shoots, and we were with Doc McGee and stuff like that. And I became friends with the guy that was a director and a producer. At the time, he was with Sony working on X-Men, but later on, he became big shot at Showtime with Californication, Ray Donovan, blah, blah, blah. Well, he took me under his wing. He saw what I was doing, and back then I started my solo project, which was on PBS, Echoes of Silence, and he took me under his wing and really showed me the ropes. Got to work with Bruce Markey at Marvel with Ant-Man, Avengers of Ultron, as well as some of the guys at Sony. Really got schooled, on directing. And from there, a lot of companies hired me, whether it was the NFL, Pixar, as well as a lot of music companies like Remo, Paiste, and then later on car companies. And so with that said, I started doing music videos a little bit. You see musicians don't have much money to do stuff, and it's a lot. There's a lot of moving parts to try to shoot something theatrical. So but God really trained me over the last 15, 20 years. And then definitely when I was in TV, producing and directing and editing, man, it was like being locked in jail. I mean, I was working minimum 14-hour days and a lot of times 18 just in the Bay because you got deadlines. And so you do 6 months of that, it really schools you. So with all that said, God, I never had an intent for that. But these days, I get a lot of calls to, direct movies or stuff like that. I turn a lot of stuff down just because it doesn't make sense, or and in my heart right now, I really want to do stuff for the Lord. I don't want to do secular stuff. I want to do stuff that matters. And IRONWRATH's Master Storytelling, the film, was one of those opportunities to do something that was relative, made sense, and question the narrative, as well as push, not push, but present, a gospel in a way that I think a secular person or somebody that's not familiar with, the Bible or church might be able to grab onto and get the Holy Spirit start working on. So that was really some of the undermining goal with IRONWRATH.
Well, and you've called this Master Storyteller, and
Yes.
and it's actually a movie that you've produced.
Correct.
That that plays behind you as you guys coordinate your music with what's on screen.
Correct.
Incredible idea. And it's I don't even know how to describe it. It's something to be experienced, isn't it?
That was, I think, nobody ever went to see it. Nobody ever went to hear a show. You go to see a show, for one.
Yeah.
And the band's always been heavily influenced by Pink Floyd. And if you go back in the day, twofold. One, go back to 60s and 70s. People actually believed that music could change the world. People actually believe that. Today it's all about, well, how many clicks did I get? What's this formula? It's people have lost their soul in music, in my opinion, especially metal. Two, back then, I mean, you had bands like, Floyd pushing the envelope. You had The Who with Tommy. You had just these larger than life productions that really were a spectacle to be part of. And so IRONWRATH wanted to pull that in and try to make something that was more of a show, a theatrical show that was to be experienced, and which gives us a different opportunities, Vegas, stuff like that.
Yes.
But it also allows us to reach out with streaming, because the film that's behind us has been altered for a feature film. You can actually watch it on our VIP site, but we're actually working on a streaming version. We'll be talking to Netflix. We got some solid stuff with Prime, but we're going to be working towards maybe a Netflix or a Max, which will be in 2025. So this version will actually be tightened up and legalized, and to get out and streaming. That way we can get a music odyssey that takes your imagination somewhere but gets you thinking. It's a thought-provoking, music odyssey down the rabbit hole of reality. And so, it's kind of what we're up to. Took like 2 years to make this movie, man.
Oh, you can tell. Yeah. And I think it's fair to compare it to the old rock operas. Jesus Christ Superstar, obviously the biggest one in those days, but so many, like you said, The Who and with Tommy and some of the older rock operas. One of them that was done, and the star of the Broadway production of it, was Les Carlson with Hair.
Yeah,
and I noticed Glenn in your video. Let's talk about or not Glenn, but Les in your video. Let's talk about Les for a minute.
He likes to be called Glenn, sometimes Boo Boo, depends on what time of day it is.
Yes.
Les is a good friend. Matter of fact, I just was able to work with them on a beautiful production coming out called St. John in Exile, where he memorized a 81-minute script, just stupid incredible, of John in Exile. It's a one-man play. and they had shot it, and I came in and, you know, really got it up to stuff, you know, so this could be possible for, once again, a streaming platform. And, but yeah, I was talking to him about this video, and, you know, and we were going to enter theatrical in it, which, you know, want to tell a story. We want to have a beginning, middle, end. We want it to pull on your heartstrings. You know, bands, a lot of bands, they get in front of a camera and they just play, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, what's the song about? What emotions does it pull? How can you create art with that? How can you create a mini film with that? So for us, we want to do it, and Les heard about it, and Les and Joyce go, hey, if you're going to cast 70-year-olds, how about us? And I was just like, are you kidding? And so we actually cast backwards. We had 4 different time frames. 2024 at age 70, 1989 at age 30, 1972 at 17, 16, and then, of course, the 6-year-olds at 1962. So not only had to match the environment and the clothing, but you know, it was really getting those 2 on board. And Joyce is stupid talented as well, and she's got a song she's gonna be doing at Immortal that's just really really good. So yeah, so it was great to have them. I always like hanging out with them, and we did some blooper stuff. We're gonna be coming out on a VIP site, and they're just a joy and such a blessing. Not just, you know, they're icons of the thing, and they were really doing the rock and roll theatrical presentation of Jesus Christ Music's Superstar back with the Blood Good. And they're those people, and I think they're on to doing more of that. I look forward to seeing what they do, because they're incredible and incredible talent. Absolutely,
and their show is incredible. You know, Joyce also was in the Broadway production of her. That's where they met each other.
That's where they met.
Incredible vocalist and an actress, and it's very very cool to see them in your video. So the music. How would you describe IRONWRATH?
IRONWRATH, I would say, if Def Leppard was dark and sleazy, that would be IRONWRATH. IRONWRATH, it's highly produced, very polished, but it's very sleazy sounding. You know, Marilyn Manson-ish, Rob Zombie. It's got those kind of takes, but there's always, for us, without I don't know the word, anthem style chorus. I don't think you have anything. So we really, when we first started the project back in 2020 to get it going again, we were just going to do an album, and we were going to redo songs we had already done. And in about 8 months in, me and Sean looked at each other going, there's something here, man, you know, and God was pushing us that way. And we said, well, if we're going to do this, what we had that a lot of people didn't have was, if you take a Striper, they have what's called a brand, right? They have a style. And if Striper came out and had an album that sounded like, you know, Korn, then they might be able to do that really well, but it wouldn't represent who they are, and they would probably lose most of their fan base. They have a branding standard they have to keep. IRONWRATH really didn't have that. We had a song came out, The Stranger, which was off a demo, which we never intended to any of that. You know, and it ended up there, and it was, you know, poorly produced, too long. My drumming timing was everywhere. Sean killed it, but we really didn't have that. So we thought, why don't we make something that's more modern? That is, you know, Jim was touching on that. That was made sense to the trend of the day. But let's keep one foot in the past, so it still feels familiar, but has new tapestries to it.
But you brought it up to date. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what we did.
Now, you're also dealing with a lot of issues and a lot of things, CG, that really hit home for all of us. You know, the world is not a good place right now.
No, it's interesting. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you talk about it, and you're not afraid to talk about it. The issues, the real problems, the deep state, you know, all of the things that are actually going on behind the scenes. We work here a lot with human trafficking as well, especially children, and we're very much aware of what's going on and how that's even connected with our government and other governments. All of the underground stuff, we're we're working with every day. So I understand where you're coming from, and I'll tell you, when I watched the movie, it was a breath of fresh air to me, because I thought these things have to be exposed, and you are.
Yeah, we're kicking the hornet's nest for sure. IRONWRATH, the name IRONWRATH, iron is a metal of war. You know, it's even spoken about in the Bible, right? You know, in Daniel 2, Revelation, you know, but iron's always been referred to as a, you know, a metal of war, rule with an iron fist or whatever.
Yeah.
Wrath is our disdain for sin, the sin of the world, the tyranny of the world. And so IRONWRATH is, you know, we've come to, you know, to wage war on the sin and tyranny of this world. And, you know, first and foremost, the most important thing, you know, is to have your freedom, you know, your true freedom is when you know Jesus Christ, your salvation, and not just how that benefits you, but what's more important, that you know him. It's always been about him. It's never been about you or us. He's made it about us, but for us, it's never been about us. But with that said, the world, you know, the freedoms we have in this country, I think, are bestowed on us by God. And, you know, we read, as Christians, we know what's coming, whether it's 2 Thessalonians or Revelation or Matthew 24, Daniel, right? We know what's coming. And Jesus said, hey, pipe down. No, I told you these things in advance, you know, and which only God could do. And so for us, seeing what's going on and the rate, I mean, you know, me and you know each other almost 40 years. I mean,
Yeah.
when we would talk about eschatology back in the day, like what's the end times going to look like? You know,
Yes.
I don't think any of us had an idea what we're seeing today. And so, the IRONWRATH Master Storyteller is extremely relevant. Yeah, we are talking about what's going on in the government, really the stuff they're pushing to our kids, you know, our freedoms that we need to stand up for, you know, for his sake. The Bible says, you know, in Matthew 6, you know, or the Lord's Prayer, I might be wrong, Matthew 6, Matthew 5, but Lord, you know, blessed be your name, hallowed be your name, thy kingdom come, your will be done. And we got to pray that God's will be done, that we humble ourselves, turn from our sin, and that we, you know, worship him. And whatever comes. But we don't want people out there that are undecided or being sucked, you know, the wrong way with all this crap and victimization, you know, to wake the hell up, man, and realize that there's an answer out there. You know, we're questioning the status quo and the narrative, and we're doing it through scripture.
Yeah, amazing. And I'm happy that you're not afraid to talk about these issues. CG, it's important to understand that these issues, as we see them and as people will see them on the screen, these are not political issues.
Correct.
They're spiritual issues.
Correct. Amen. There you go. You hit it on the head. Yeah. It's packaged that way because that's the way it seems. It's like, you know, the sin you deal with, those darts that shoot in your head, you know, they may come from a social media post. They may come from an interaction at work. They may come from some jerk cutting you off on the freeway. Yes. But behind that, there's a spiritual warfare. And really, that's what's going on. And oftentimes it's easy to forget that the things we're seeing are, you know, we're dealing with idiots or we're dealing with this. We're not. We're dealing with spiritual entities that have been here for a long time that have been playing the same game on us. And so, yeah, we're just calling out the facade, but we're really talking about what's behind that facade for sure.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think so many people get caught up in the political part of it. And CG, let me just say this. Folks, turn the news off. Turn it off, especially if you're watching mainstream media. It is not about news. It's about propaganda. It's not. It hasn't been about news for years. Turn it off. Do some digging. Go down the rabbit holes. Go down and really figure out for yourself what's going on. And don't let anybody call it conspiracy theory. Find out what's going on and find out the truth of what's going on. You know, CG, they say these days that if you have a conspiracy theory, it becomes the truth within just a few months. It always starts with people calling us conspiracy theorists, but I've been studying conspiracy theories since the late 70s, deep state and all the stuff that's going on. And I don't talk about it a lot, but I'm not surprised by anything that's going on because it's been a concerted effort for a very long time.
Correct.
But not an effort necessarily politically. This is Satan hating God and trying to get back at him. It's never really
100%.
been about us. It's about him. And
you get it. You get it, Pastor Bob. Everything you see, and you're 100% right about the news, it's a mental psyop. Everything's a mental psyop. They've been working on these techniques, since Operation Paperclip, and the things they do, like I heard checked on one of the sites, just to give you an idea, which you might know about. They took 18 people and put them in a room. 17 of them were CIA operatives, and they brought in a triangle, and they asked the first CIA operative, and the 18th guy was just a normal person, didn't know. They go, "What do you see?" And the guy goes, "I see a square." And they kept going down. All 17 of them, which were paid and in on it, said, "I see a square." What do you think the 18th person said? "I see a square," because he didn't want to, go against the quo or this and that. But those spirits that are behind that train of thought have been around, since Nero, since Jesus, since Noah, right? It's the same spirits trying to do the same thing, and they're trying to thwart, the plan of God, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because you're dealing with the Creator, man. Come on, are you that stupid that you think you're really gonna change? When we read Revelation, that's not, like something that might happen. That's history just written in advance from the eyes of an almighty Creator that transcends, time and space. Hello.
Yes.
What are you kicking against, man? Good luck with that, man. Good luck with that. But yeah, we want to blow the cover off this garbage, and it's a spiritual issue. Satan's come to kill, steal, and destroy.
Yes.
Jesus has come to give you life and that more abundantly, man.
Right.
Pick a side.
And that is the battle, CG. That's the battle right there.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's an exciting time as well.
Yes.
We keep talking about the perilous part of it, but I wake up every morning with revival on my heart. I know God is doing things. CG sanctuaries in 23 countries, and
Yes.
I hear this from all of our leaders all over the world, that God is moving, and especially in our metal family, really moving. And I'm so excited for what's about to happen. But part of that is exposing the darkness and bringing the light. Talk about that for a minute.
By Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light so shine before men that they might see your good works and glorify Father in heaven." And it's interesting that passage is saying they see your good works, but yet they give God glory, because the works you're doing are not from you, they're from God, Jesus within you, the Holy Spirit within you. And what a blessing that is. So in today's world, it's hostile. It's if you even mention the J word, I mean, you could lose your job. You get canceled or whatever. There's a lot going on, and that's why I think music's so important, because a lot of these bands, Barren Cross, Holy Right, IRONWRATH, Triton, our boys Fear Not, they're saying what people need to or wish they could say. But we got to take a side. If God is for you, who can be against you, man? And at the end of the day, God, and I think about that a lot. Like, man, well, if I could have just grew up in the '60s and and did well in the '80s and knew what I know now back then, and I could have been this and that. And it's like, but God didn't put me there. He put me here. He put me here for a reason. And I have to recognize that. We have to recognize that. The times we're going into are scary and perilous, but you know what? The Bible says, Romans 8, 38 to 39, says that, that basically if Jesus Christ, if you trust Jesus Christ, neither death nor life nor angels, principalities, powers, anything can separate you from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord.
Yes.
So we have the answer, man. And not only do we need to live that, but we need to be a light. And because one of your greatest witnesses, there's an old Catholic saying that plays off of scripture. It plays off, I believe it's Mark 16, where it says, go into all the world and let your light so shine before men, and use words if you have to.
Yeah.
And that's a great little saying, that your life should exemplify that something's different with you. And it's not about us or what we do or what we don't do. It's that God lives within us and we trust in him. We put his word first. We have a different perspective and a different hope, than I don't even know if you can have hope. How could you have hope in this world? I mean, money comes and goes, and staying busy keeps your mind off it. But when you lay in bed at night, before I knew the Lord, I was hopped up on speed and cocaine. Man, I wasn't laying in bed, dreaming of, being a rock star. I was laying in bed going, okay, this is going to play out 60 years later. I'm going to be sitting in a diaper in a wheelchair in some old folks home, trying to cast for a Metallica video. And I'm going to die. What happens then? Where am I going to be then? And I used to think about that all the time.
Yes.
Luckily, somebody handed me a track, and and that person, if that person wouldn't have did that, I wouldn't be here now. I mean, God had planned that, but you know what I'm saying? We need to be those people that do something, that change something, that exemplify the gospel, because it's what is actually going on in this world. It's the reason we're here, to know him. And as much as everything else clutters that, the noise, but we need to wipe out the noise, and we need to focus on what's important and realize what's what, especially us that understand the war and the warfare and the techniques being involved. We should be very hip and strategically minded.
Absolutely. Good word. Good word. So exciting days ahead for IRONWRATH. Dude, I'm so excited to see you in person again.
Dude, it's going to be good, man.
And looking forward to the band and seeing them play along with the movie. And folks, once again, if you haven't gotten your tickets for Immortal Fest, you need to do that. We'd love to have you there. People say, well, I live a little ways away. People drive from all over the United States to be part of this great family event. And I'm hoping that you will be one of them as well. So put that on your calendar. 9 days away. It's coming up real soon. And looking forward to having IRONWRATH on the stage. And if you haven't heard their music yet, you need to check them out. How can people get a hold of you? What can they do to see your music and to experience IRONWRATH?
They can go to our website at IRONWRATHLovesPastorBob.com. And it's IRONWRATH, all one word, .net. And somebody stole our .com. They got a book. They want to charge us a bunch of money for it. But anyways, IRONWRATH.net. It's really the hub for everything. You get to all the social platforms. We just released a brand new video this Monday with lessons in it called The Best Part of Me, a beautiful little vignette of the bittersweet ways of life. And that's that. You find everything there. And there's a lot more going on to BCI, a lot of secrets, and there's a lot of interactive stuff for you guys, the fans. And we also have a VIP site there, which is like a Patreon. It's a paid site. But within there, we got over 5 hours of just exclusive material. Like the new video that just came out, there'll be a version with just the band. There'll be the theatrical version that's going to be in concert, which you won't be able to see except for in concert. Yeah, there's just all kinds of stuff.
Be part of that. I'll look forward to that. That's great. IRONWRATH.net, folks. And CG, thank you so much for joining.
Brother, it's been my honor. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jim. God bless you guys. And Bob, I'm really proud of what you're doing.
Thank you.
Really proud of what you're doing.
I'm very proud of you. Well, I always have been, but I'm still proud of you. And I appreciate what you're doing.
With my Christmas card then.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I have a feeling we could go another hour easily, and we will. Immortal Fest. Folks, thank you for watching us today. And I hope that you'll join us again next week. Next week, we have the folks from Rescue one of the ministries that we work with in rescuing children that are being trafficking. And we will be talking about child trafficking next week, devoting the whole show to it. And I hope you'll join us for this really important subject. And we'll be getting down and dirty with it. I want you to know what's really going on. Folks, don't forget, you are blessed. So go and be a blessing.